This meeting is being live streamed. All right, let's check it out. I don't even know where the old YouTube video is, where the chat is, and where I usually send the link. So hopefully people just figure it out. Yep, there we go. We are live. Beautiful. Hey, welcome everybody to Hash Church 4.0. Is it season 4? No, not really. I think we're like 7 or 8 years into this shit, but it is 4.0. Don't ask me the madness behind my decisions, but yes, 4.0 episode 1 is here. Apologies for it being 18 minutes late. I was totally crashed out sleeping, and I never sleep until 9 o'clock. Like ever. I looked on my phone and saw that Wade had entered the room, and I was like, oh my God, dude, we got to hear from Wade today. I want to hear from everyone. So good morning, everyone. We got a bunch of people that just came into the room. I think we got about 50 people that just popped in. We got Best Friend Farms in the house. We got Collin in the house. We got Etienne in the house. And of course, we have Wade in the house. So how is everyone doing? How are you doing, Wade?
I'm doing good, given everything that's going on. I've got my camera turned off because I'm in bed and not real handsome to look at this morning. But yeah, learning about a new health paradigm in my life. I've been getting used to the idea of not enjoying full health and having to learn how to ask for help. As a man who's spent most of his life being ready and willing to help others, I find myself in a situation where now I need help with all kinds of things that I never expected to be in that situation. So it's a real eye-opening experience, and I'm actually feeling excited. It's not really the right word, but for new opportunities, new chances to learn about myself and about how our minds work in the context of health and relations with other people. So that's kind of where I'm at.
It's not easy, is it, Wade? I destroyed myself about 4 years ago, and I was unable to walk. Like almost at all. And I remember just feeling that same way, kind of like, wow, like I was ending up going to a lot of doctors and physio and stuff. And in my neighborhood, there's a lot of elderly people. And what I noticed was that I was much slower than them, and I was unable to do things that they could do. And I'd be walking into the building, and then, like an 85-year-old guy would be like, excuse me, and sort of shuffle by me while I was, moving 1 inch at a time, because I had just so badly damaged my lower spine. And it really got me thinking the same way, just kind of like, wow, like this is it just gave me a glimpse into my potential future if I can get there, hey, brother, right on, dude. Good to see you, man. We got mad love for you, Wade. So yeah, it's, I was even talking to my wife about it the other day. We have this long driveway. It snowed about 20 times this year. And the minute it snows, we're both out there shoveling like crazy. And I'm just kind of like, there's going to be a time where we can't do this. And I wonder if our brains are going to accept the fact that we can't do it, or if we're just going to do it until we are injured or hurt. And then maybe we'll listen to our bodies and be like, holy shit, like, I don't think I can go out there and shovel the 4,000 pounds of snow again. So I feel for you. I know you have an incredible community around you. I know that you yourself have been helping people in similar situations that are unable to do things for themselves. And you've been such sort of a leading energy in that help. And I often, say it to my wife, because she's very much a helper. She doesn't take it all. But you have to understand that sometimes the taking is allowing someone else to help, which is also giving. And so don't forget that. And I see that you have an amazing community of people around you. I see that there's a little Facebook group started for you, Compassion for Wade. And I just love seeing all the people that are just like, I want to help. I want to do this. Like, I'll help with meal prep. I'll help. So that's really awesome to see. And I would have expected it to go no other way with a person of your vibe.
Yeah, thank you, Marcus. One of the yeah, it's really interesting to me how we take for granted our health and our opportunity to do the things that we love to do, and yeah, this came up out of nowhere for me. Back in September, I fractured a rib sitting up in bed, and it was like, how does that happen? And then over time, over the last few months, I've broken a bunch of ribs. I broke my collarbone on the left side here, trying to open a childproof pill bottle, and just fractured it clean in two. And the type of cancer that I have is called multiple myeloma, and basically it's certain type of blood cells, bone marrow cells. They're called plasmids, and they make a specific protein that I am my body's being very good at making lots and lots and lots and lots of plasmids, and what ends up happening is there's so many of them, they blow holes in the bones. So when I've seen X-ray photographs of my skeleton, and it's like I was shot with a shotgun. There's just hundreds of little holes in the bones throughout my rib cage and spine and even my skull. Always thought I'd end up being a holy man, you know? So anyway, that's what's happening. And probably the biggest drama at the moment is I have this sort of crazy object here. I don't know if you can really see it, but every time I get out of bed, I have to strap myself into this thing because my spine, several of the vertebrae in my spine are eroded to the point where the X-ray, you can see my spinal cord. It's no longer surrounded by bone. And they're concerned about he ended up paralyzed from bone intruding on the spinal cord. So I'm doing a lot of bed rest, getting up when I can, eating well, trying to get lots of rest. Pain's probably the biggest issue. Pain is such an interesting thing. It's really a sensation from the body to stop doing what you're doing if you can. And if you can't stop, learn how to live with it. But I have a really strong sense in myself that I will come through this, that this is a thing that this is not my end game, if you will. I have a very clear sense of I'm learning about what it's like for people in my situation now. Like you said, I've spent years helping people in this situation, but now I'm in this situation. And it's really, I feel like it's an opportunity for me to help more people understand what this situation's like and how those of us who look to plants and mushrooms for healing opportunities can really explore what's possible in our medical profession and the things that they offer. But really, for me, a lot it comes back to caring for oneself, learning to accept gifts. My beloved Monica pointed out to me that she reminded me of all the people who have accepted preparations I've made over the years, and they never opened them. They put them on their bedside and just left them there, like never really used them. And I feel like I'm being given that same opportunity. I have people who are offering gifts to me on a regular basis, but if I'm not willing to open those gifts and take advantage of the offering that's been made, I'm like having that sitting on the counter next to the bed instead of opening my heart to the gifts that are being offered. And that's a hard part. That's the hard part of acknowledging all the love that's out there. And that's all I got.
Well, I appreciate you, Wade. I'm stoked that you're here with us today. I'm stoked that you turned your camera on. I'm stoked that you're acknowledging all the love that's coming your way. And if you have any problems accepting any of that love, I feel like Etienne's cat is teaching us all a lesson on how to fully accept love. I mean, holy shit, did you see that cat's face just now? That was, I need to learn a few lessons from your cat.
She loves Wade, and needless to say, Wade, thank you for calling after your diagnosis. It was both painful and loving to speak with you, to remind you as healers, now is your time to be loved and to accept it. And thank you for accepting it, because as we know, so many people we've tried to help, as you said, don't open it. And my best to Monica and all your support team. We love you. We're sorry to see you go through this, but we're not above you, we're not below you, we're beside you. So we love you, we're with you. If anything you need, anytime you need to talk, bitch, complain, you got my number. So or just share love and just to share a smile, I'm here for you there too. But do your best, take it easy, remember you're human. And I know you've already immersed in that, but, just continue to accept the love, and we love you. And my cat sends her love too.
I see Dr. Allison and Dr. Mark are both in the house. We got Mr. Dragonfly Earth Medicine. Hey, Dr. Allison.
Hey, good morning. I just want to send some love to Wade, some healing vibes to him. Okay. And I was listening to him and I was feeling so much love. Hopefully he can accept the love that he's given to others that is coming back around to him. And I'm just going to pop in for a moment because I am getting ready to go on tour with Tool for the week. Yeah. I've been preparing for this for a very long time. And so I'm going to be hitting Eugene, Tacoma, Boise, Sacramento, and San Francisco. And
some tool assisted therapy. Is that what's going on?
Oh, yes. There's going to be some mushroom tool assisted therapy as well as some cannabis assisted therapy going on.
That is awesome. Tool as well. Like, come on. Are you kidding me?
Right? Nothing like a little Alex Gray and Adam Jones artwork to, feel like you're in church, literally. Different kind of church than Hash Church, but church nonetheless.
We're in full support of Tool Church. That is for certain. And anything Alex Gray, we embrace 100%. I got my first Alex Gray calendar in 1991, the Sacred Mirrors calendar. And that's when I got turned on to Alex and did a 2-foot double jump right into his, into all of it, which was, I appreciate Alex. I appreciate Tool. And of course, I appreciate you.
And
I always appreciate you. Speaking of Alex, actually, the first event I ever did was the 50th anniversary of LSD in San Francisco at the Unitarian Church in 1993, and Alex brought all his artwork and set it up in the center of the Unitarian Church. And it was,
he set up the sacred mirrors.
He set up all his paintings, not just sacred mirrors. He set up a whole bunch of his paintings. And that's the first time I had, one, ever seen his work. Two, it was live. Three, a lot of that shit's fucking large. And I had no idea. So, because I had been to Dali, and if you've ever been to the Dali Museum, shit's really small. So you never know what you're going to get when you see an artist. And to see his work on full display, just, yeah, that's an artist I've followed ever since, needless to say, because it touched my heart and my soul and everybody who was there. And a lot of people were tripping since it was the 50th anniversary of LSD. And they were just in the center with that art. It was just, that connection never escaped my soul. It was so beautiful. I hope the experience is wonderful and transcending, Doctor, because yeah, I love Tool. I've seen them many a time, and yeah, they always put on an amazing show.
Thanks. I'm really excited.
Just watch the drum solos. Those are the best. Jenny Carey's amazing.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. My best friend and I have been going to see Tool for the past 25 years. So when they, and actually during COVID, March 12th, we were at the Portland show and we were supposed to go to Eugene and beyond, and it got canceled. So we decided to take a week and just go on tour as, best friends. And and my stepkid's going to go to the Tacoma show for her first rock concert. So she's going to be ruined. I mean, having Tool as her first concert.
Yeah, that's completely insane. Mine was Iron Maiden and Twisted Sister, and I was able to find some better experiences down the road. But I'll tell you, Twisted Sister in like 1986 was some serious shit. They weren't going to take it. They just weren't.
Anymore.
In 1985.
But I just wanted to make sure I said hi. I miss you guys. And I've been thinking of y'all. I've been judging the Washington Craft Cup. I'm judging Rosin, and I'm also judging BHO. And I'm so disappointed in the fact that BHO people are using CRC. I don't know if y'all have talked about it at all, but I know Oregon has outlawed the use of CRC. It has not happened in Washington, and nearly every entry that I'm smoking is CRC. It's so
Mark looking through the top of his glasses. I feel like he's got something to say about that.
How can they outlaw CRC? What the hell is that? That's bullshit, right? It's just a filtration step, right? I mean, yeah. you don't call it CRC, and then you could still do a filtration through some media. I mean, I don't know.
I don't like the way it tastes at all. I mean, you can taste it in the back of your mouth. I don't know whether it's the diatomaceous earth that I'm tasting or any of the other, chemicals or bleaching agents or whatever it is that they're using in their columns, but it doesn't taste good. It completely takes away from the terpenes.
And I'll tell you, BHO never quite got back on its feet after that Rosin knocked it down a little bit. Like, I'm not saying that it's like, and I remember Johnny B did a video called The Death of BHO, and I remember being like, holy shit, like, I'm glad I didn't make that video because the BHO community already kind of hated me. But fuck, I'll say it was certainly a partial death. Like, it was a blow. I'll never forget Giddy Up being like, fucking BHO will always be better than Rosin. It's too hot and it's burnt. And it's like, where did that fucking guy go?
Now I got Nick Bradley's in there saying Oregon didn't outlaw CRC, they outlawed specific media. Now I know I was just in Hawaii and you can't even get any type of BHO extraction there. However, they have just started doing rosin, and their rosin was fucking fire. I have to actually give major props to Maui Grown and what they're doing there. For pressure and heat, but the quality of the rosin was first rate. It's still expensive. It's like $76 a gram retail. It's expensive. I may be wrong on that, but it's still expensive. But at the same time, the quality is getting better. And being a veteran, I got a discount, but still, the prices are still outrageous.
I like that, and I got a discount. That's awesome.
Well,
Oh,
rosin and bubble hash, as all of y'all know, are gonna always be superior.
you know what? To each its own. I love the idea of everything being available. I've always loved the idea of, even things that I'm not interested in. There's other people that have a great interest in that, and so I will fight for people's rights to have BHO if that's what they want. I'm just pretty happy with my full melts and my rosins, but to each their own, for certain. It's a wonderful plant.
I think
Go ahead.
I was just feeling like if it's a sacramental, sentient being plant, it should stay that way all the way into the body. And when you put a toxic chemical into something to transform it, to make it somehow more available to the market, makes zero sense on a spiritual level and on an herbal level. People can do what they want, and they will, and that's fair enough. And I just like to point out that cannabis is possible to be a sacred sentient being, and the medicine that comes out of it can change lives. And the purer it is, the better it is on your microbiome and your disposition. I love you, Wade.
Yep, well said, Josh, for sure. At the same time, I used to always be amazed at like how people could take isopropanol or another poison, as you call it, create this extract and then like cure cancer out of their body with it. Like there's got to be something going on there. Like regardless, like I can't tell you how many people I know that did that with like iso and butane oil, and just taking it and ridding their body of disease. I got to think that the power of cannabis is greater than the power of the chemical extracting it, and it seems to hold over right to the end. And I get that the purity, like I'm a pure guy. I very much love the full melt bubbles and stuff. And I'm always like, if my mom got some cancer or something, I'd want to send her like my best full melt. I probably wouldn't go buy her BHO. That being said, it's hard to buy 30 grams of full melt BHO or 60 grams or, to have that stash. Whereas at one point in time, people really figured it out with BHO and ISO. There was just, you could buy enough of it where it was like, oh, so-and-so needs like 60 grams, to start their regimen. You could just access it, and trying to find 60 grams of full melt bubble would be like, I don't know, $6,000, $10,000, really expensive. So I love the idea of people using what they have access to. And in the meantime, let's make sure they have access. If, it's your vision to have the best, cleanest, best for your biome product, well, then we got to do it. You got to grow the weed. I got to make the hash, and we got to make it available, dude. So come on, let's do this. Let's do it.
I think if you're trying to correct disease, like maybe smoking it isn't the actual method anyway. So you probably move away from that whole entire modality. If you're gonna like correct, a chronic illness. And that's the beauty of this fractal medicine, is that we have this ability to transform it into different ways. And there's a lot of ways to live out there and stuff. And I would like to just give my love at this moment to Wade, because I haven't yet. And I just really acknowledge your whole entire path. Everything that you've always been about has always been a breath of life to me and Kelly. Everything that I've ever seen you say, everything that I've in your presence, Monica as your partner, your whole entire way of being, the way of bringing Forrest into it, and Caladrius and your support of his, that whole entire network is life changing and life transforming. And I really appreciate, you. And I also want to be as Kelly too, also there any minute of any day. It can't be there spiritually, we can do probably a lot. So we're going to do everything we can to continue to send life, love, and courage and strength to you. And, you know, I just want to, I can't, words are not enough to express the feelings that I have, that we all have in our body for you.
Thank you, Josh. It's, yeah. So much of what we do, and it's not just me, I think this whole circle of people represent similar flavors as what I think I bring in my life. And so much of what we do is you put it out there because it's an expression of who you are, not because you think it's going to bring some sort of fame or recognition or anything like that. It's who we are. And so deep appreciation for you and Kelly and the whole Dragonfly Earth family were really a breath of fresh air when I first found your work and what you were doing. It made so much sense to me. And yeah, thank you. And I love the way in which you call out the spirit of the plant and the importance of the spirit, the wholeness of that plant, and the various ethnogenic compounds that we're exploring and learning more about. I'm taking full advantage of some of the CBD capsules you guys are making and supplementing it with cannabis, of course. And yeah, just deep appreciation for this whole network of people. Yes, right there. Just what he's holding up. Exactly that. I got him right here next to the bed.
It's nice to visualize that there's old growth intelligence in there because of the polypores that are growing in that intact environment. One of the largest intact environments of all of British Columbia are infused into that oil, along with good intentions. And, you know, the power of cannabis, of course, and other herbal medicines. There you go. It looks like you got maybe an Fomus fomentarius or some kind of an artist conch there, potentially, Marcus. Yeah, that's beautiful. And it does have an intelligence beyond our current wisdom, you know, but I think inside we do understand it. And then that's why it works so well and stuff. So yeah, it's all of us. There's a red belted conch. That's the one that's the most prolific in the northern hemisphere. A lot of the world has that red belted conch, and it grows on fir trees, pine trees, birch trees, rarely, but sometimes hemlock trees. And they call it, you know, it's just a powerful medicine. There's even stories, lore about native peoples on the British Columbian coast, you know, trading with Chinese, you know, for 2,000 years. And Lee Miracle is an amazing storyteller, native woman from Canada. Everyone should know about her. And she's talking about ginseng coming from the Chinese, you know, 2,000 years ago, and her tribes and her native people never changed the name. They just call it ginseng because it came from them 2,000 years ago. And parts of that remnants do grow in the forest, and you find ginseng around here. And I love the idea that as long as there's been humans, there's been trading of medicine. And, you know, to me, that's really powerful. And I like that we're keeping that happening today in this modern world. And when a person says, I'm interested in plant medicine, I think they're saying I'm interested in spirit medicine as well, because the plant has a spirit, and the spirit comes from the environment and the interaction between the human and that environment. And that's where the magic comes from. You know, that's where pyramids are built or things beyond the human power. So I like to hold the space for miraculous healing. And also just, you know, conscious living, you know, just being conscious, you know, as best you can. And maybe in this moment, I would like to take a moment of silence, because in our family in the last week, we had a death of a not only a DEM pure family.
Did he freeze up? Oh yeah, he'll be back. He's got internet like me. There he is. Here he comes.
This far in the life, Daniel from Lane Creek Hemp, Southern Oregon. Hello. Maybe I'll just.
You're back, Daniel. You're back. We missed most of it, so you gotta.
From Lane Creek Hemp.
There we go.
Lane Creek Hemp, Southern Oregon. His sister runs the farm. It's a family farm, amazing people. They won the regenerative cannabis farm in Oregon, a few years back at the Cultivation Classic. They're, family members of Green Source Gardens and Nick and Liz. And it was, the random sad death, and they found him in his boat, on the river. And so we're putting our emotions and our heart space to Daniel, to the family, and to the farm, to anything, that's guiding him in his transformation. Our heart goes out to Daniel and Lane Creek Hemp.
Thanks for sharing that. Cut out for the first little bit, but definitely got clear towards the end. Shout out to Daniel's family and the whole DEM pure family. That's heavy duty for sure. Dying on a boat, floating on a river. Humans, we die everywhere we go. It's true. Everywhere we go.
Speaking of, I'd love to send a special rest in peace to a longstanding hempie who passed this week. His name is Steve Levine. He was on the Hemp Industries Association board. I do believe he actually planted hemp seeds on the DEA's lawn. So he was a badass, one of the sweetest, most loving hempies. Started the Santa Barbara Hemp Company, was always out educating people for the last 3 decades on hemp. Just a nonstop, tireless, awesome person. So Steve Levine out of Santa Barbara, rest in peace, brother. I'll see you on the other side. But you were an inspiration, a pride, and your smile was unrelenting. And the world is a little less brighter without you in it. I love you.
Well said, Etienne. Thanks for sharing that. Randomly enough, Steve was one gentleman whose paths, mine and his, never crossed in the 30 years that we were both involved with the plant. I knew who he was, but we had never interacted, which is just fairly rare for me in this sort of community. I usually bump into most folks like that are lifers, that are 100% dedicated to the plant. So yeah, another cannabis warrior has gone to the other side. Puff a
really quickly, on a positive note, I'd like to just shout out Bryan at Best Friend Farms. All of it's positive, I would like to say, and Bryan from Best Friend Farms in the last 2 weeks has become pure certified. And his farm is, really coming alive over the last few years, and the whole Maine community, is really doing their work to try and make the world a better place. And just really stoked about Bryan and the intention you're putting into your products and your farm, and the transformation of growing all, the food and bringing in diversity, working with hemp farmers, local organic, cultivation, certification groups and stuff. You can tell us more, but I think it's really, Maine's I don't want to call it a sleeper state, because every state's doing a lot, but Maine's doing a lot of interesting stuff over there. So, and I know, Collin, you're doing a lot of stuff traveling all over the place. I think you're in Maine now, so big up Collin, big up Johnny B on the push-ups.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to be part of it. Definitely
it's awesome, dude.
Medicine. Yeah, the medicine food come inherently for Mainers here. You know, it's one of those things like I grew up in the home with both, and you know, people were quieter before now, but it's one of those things that this state here, you know, has the landscape for it too, where we're not, you know, we're cold, but it's not so cold enough to kill off a lot of the blights through the winter and create, you know, good topsoil continuum for the next year. And then we just have a lot of water here, like Michigan and like you guys have up there. And I think that's an interesting thing I was actually thinking on a lot lately when it comes to perhaps a hash terroir or a terp terroir, when you're looking at ambient humidity or moisture surrounding, when you kind of maybe isolate or look down to the resin or the gland and how it would exist in what would be maybe a moisture bath versus a very dry climate, which is more conducive for a heavy flower density, healthy flower. But I just wanted to bring that up a little. And you know, Maine's doing a lot of good things with the medicine and with the hash and such, and starting to pay attention to some of that happening. Wanted to just talk about it a little.
I want to talk about hashwar and the word that you just invented. Can we please make sure that doesn't go past us? That was awesome, dude. Holy shit.
You came up with the hashwar. That hashwar, I like the roll on that phrasing. I was thinking
I've seen the
terroir, hash terroir. I like it.
Terroir, hashwar. I've heard of I have a sticker from Northern California, the terroirist.
Oh, the terroir.
So there's being a terroirist and bigging up your hashwar.
You know, I like hashwar. I like hashwar because it also could include not only, you know, the terroir, the outside, but the indoor sort of aspect of it, which, you know, maybe there's something to that.
Wouldn't your hashwar and your terroir person have to work together?
Absolutely. They have to be close friends. They have to smoke together.
You'd have to take in effect the airwar, you know, because the air that's happening is crucial. So
depends on your oxygen war, you know, it has to be saturation level.
Well, it's around the same latitude, right? Isn't Maine like at the same latitude as BC?
That's
Maybe.
interesting.
I'm trying to picture the.
Wouldn't it be
like
Northern California?
You know, it's coastal. It's right. It's kind of like the same thing over there, right? A little bit, right?
No, I mean the bottom. So like Ontario, Hamilton, Ontario is 43 parallel, which is the same as Eugene, Oregon. You would never guess that Hamilton, Ontario is the same latitude as Eugene, Oregon until you look it up. And then you're like, oh, weird. So like, that's why there's like Niagara on the Lake is a town south of, you know, on Toronto. And they have huge hectares filled with greenhouses and tons of growing. You know, some of the original Canadian LPs were in those areas, but someone should look it up. Where's Maine?
Dude, some of that Southern Ontario resin, like some of the best full melt I've ever seen grown outdoors in Canada comes from not too far from that area.
Maine has some extremely talented growers up here. I'm really impressed with not only the camaraderie, but also the selection and the individuality that everyone brings to the table here in terms of their growing. You know, it's rare to see so much fire on the shelf. So
I just looked up Portland. Yeah. Portland, Maine is 43. So that's low.
Yeah. 42nd, 43rd parallel. I've heard like 42nd.
Being in the 51st parallel is like hardcore. It's a different like step of cold and hardcoreness.
I think it's why we might be getting all this snow. I got 3 feet on my deck.
Yep.
How much snow?
Might it have something to do with the moisture level, right? And the moisture level might have something to do with not necessarily the terroir for growing, but for hash making. I mean, hash hash making could be very, very different at different levels of humidity. So
It definitely is.
Do you think that the would it be that the maybe a fuller terpene expression, perhaps, if it has a more of a bath of moisture around for it to express every aspect of that end of that fraction of the resin? Anyone know?
I've seen a lot of weed over the years, not like, oh, I've seen a lot of weed, not like that. It's just we are up in British Columbia. We go down all over, all kinds of contests everywhere. And definitely found that, and even in California and Oregon, people use shade cloths in the middle of the day and the intense heat because the resin heads, like, they get closer into the bud. You might say, oh, there's a lot more resin heads because you have a bigger flower. And in the end, you might even have higher yields in California. But, you know, for example, California, I'll just say, for example, but, you know, up in British Columbia or up in the farther north where the bulbs get more, they're getting more identified. The flower isn't as tight, and the way that the heads knock off in the hash, it can be definitely more terpy in a sense. You know, you got that water filling. Cannabis, you know, historically can come from dry zones. You know, Afghanistan, Pakistan. I get it. It's not about whether you can make hash or not. It's just, in these areas, you can get a more full expression in certain, it might be harder. It's harder to grow though, because you don't get, in some ways, it doesn't express the same. So you have to use a greenhouse. So there's a lot, that's a huge story. It's a huge story. So that's why in some cases we use greenhouses, right? Because we get the best expression because we're capturing the heat of our northern climate and finishing it off before the cold nights. If we try and play around with cold nights around here, there's not a terp to be seen. You know what I mean? The plant stops growing. Of course, we have outdoor varietals that continue to progress into the cold. It's amazing. There's plants that grow into the cold, but it's not the same kind of terpene expression. So yeah, the volume could be a little less. I feel the resin heads are big and make for, in some cases, even more greasier style hash.
I agree with that. That's what we're finding here, actually. And it's interesting because the hash game has kind of changed a lot to where it goes to, you know, full melt or rosin, and people are looking for that real true terp expression, like a lot about the flavor. We all know it's going to be potent, but yeah, it's interesting conversation.
I mean,
the
outdoor Maine won the Ego Clash in California this year. That says something. It says one thing or two. You could figure out what they are.
Yeah, and I find it, all right. So I find on the East Coast predominantly, you know, not to put this versus anything, just in terms of difference in climate. Having that moisture during your cure or your drying process, it really truly does help retain a lot of the volatiles that are there. It seems that there's almost a more control that you can bring over the whole process in itself, that produces a more robust profile. And it's something that I've really noticed over the years, and I truly believe that the climate up in Maine up here is really conducive to super terpy varietals, and it's really due to the environment.
We're getting a lot of big resin heads too, like in the 120 range, like yeah, what Josh was saying, really greasy,
yeah.
Terpy, greasy, and then a big, extra big dump, especially in the greenhouse later finish that can go to full maturity. But we're seeing on the 120 micron, like almost overpowering the 90 by 2 lately.
What about the 160 on that?
Sometimes you do see 160.
I haven't been hitting it.
Yeah, I've gotten full mount right up to 190. When I went and Years ago, I went to Lugano to run material, and I'll never forget it. In fact, I took a picture of the hashes with their microns written down to them, and it was kind of a not a very good picture at the time, but it got printed in Red Eye magazine because it was sort of like from the 25 micron to the 190 micron, every single grade melted and bubbled, and substantially too, not like one was a sizzler and the other ones were melting like ice cubes, but they were all like ice cubes. It was, I haven't really seen anything like it since, I have to be honest.
We definitely don't get a lot of 160 off our farm for whatever reason it is. And we'll put it in there just to clean it up and make it sweet for what's below, so the 220, 190, 160, just to keep it like super clean down below. We'll go through that effort, but we don't get a lot out of the 160. We play around with it.
I can't remember who was talking, but they were even talking about 190 and possibly using a 250 instead of a 220 because they thought the 220 was capturing heads. And I remember reading this conversation and being like, okay, those are like really big heads.
Yeah, I think, Marcus, we talked about that a bit, where I was asking, would it make sense to add another bag there to capture?
Well, I had a 250 years ago. I used to have a 250 and not too many people needed it. But just recently, there was another conversation, not me or you, a group of guys talking about how they were capturing all these heads in their 190s and they thought that they were losing some in their 220 and they ended up getting a 250 and finding heads in their 220. And not saying it's impossible, but it's just, it's neat to see people are doing things that I've never really, seen. I like that.
Yeah.
Good day, everybody. I was going to mention, even with the SIFT, I've been using your 304 screen, and a lot of the heads I'm finding on that, and I had the COAs come back, were actually quite high in THC. I was quite surprised. So going with those lower screens, I just got
that's 45 microns, so that'll be like, should be, if you purify them, in the 40 to 60, maybe even 65 range.
I got a 42 micron yesterday.
Well, I meant THC percents, but your 305 is about a 45 micron screen. 50, maybe closer to 48 or whatnot.
Happy belated birthday, Johnny B, and great job on your 50 push-ups there a day there, sir. Outstanding job. Your consistency was a thing to appreciate.
Hell yeah.
I love it now. I'm doing 100 push-ups a day. I do now up to 28 was my max. So I'm getting up there. Considering before my fall, I did 35 at the bus stop, and that would June 22nd of 2005. So my goal was to get to 50 push-ups by the end of my 50th birthday. So I got all of this year basically. So join me, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 crunches a day. Mark, you were doing it. I love you for it. A bunch of other guys, but even I started with 2 push-ups, guys. Like, and then you can do 2 an hour, then do 5. Just keep doing it. It's like growing. Just keep growing until you get there. Never stop. That's it. Just fuck yeah. Love you guys. Thank you.
Feels good to do push-ups. I was happy to do it with you, Johnny B. I didn't promote it like you did, but I think I sent you the odd video of here, Johnny B, I'm doing my push-ups. Oh, there he goes. He's doing push-ups.
I have to. But
do your push-ups, Johnny B.
I started getting into
keep going and he never stops.
Push-ups as well, and keep going, Johnny. Jeez, we can see you somehow. We can see you taking those push-ups right there.
Crushing it.
I ended up hurting my elbows, and I hate to say it.
No,
but I ended up hurting myself from doing the push-ups after. It wasn't just in the last month. I'm talking the last couple of years. I've been kind of taking it on. The last couple of months, I was starting to get. Yeah.
Woo! Thanks, guys, for the motivation. That's my second most push-ups. I was trying to get to 28, but I was like, don't want to hurt yourself. Never stop. Never give up.
As Josh is telling us about hurting himself doing push-ups.
I hurt myself.
How about that, dude?
Turn your fingers in a little bit. I realized I can get better push-ups with that. I do wider, and it's the book that I'm on how to help with chronic pain is through push-ups. sit-ups, walk backwards, retrain your mind, breathing exercises, what I do every day.
Oh,
Walks every day. And
dude, someone just named your shit, Johnny. Johnny B's Push-ups.
Push-ups.
Dude, Johnny B's Push-ups.
Push-ups.
What are the breathing exercises you're doing?
So when I'm walking, I breathe into the nose. I hold for 4 seconds and I breathe through the nose. I do that while I'm walking. And I do that every day. And I've been doing that since March 6th. And well, you know what? I think everybody can see the change. It's really easy. Just do it. Like I just made that. I just decided. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this. All I do is walk up the door. You know, and every day got a little bit better. And every day I felt a little bit better. And now I'm with you guys feeling fantastic.
It's time for a push-up.
2022. I'm doing this for 100 days. You can start anytime you want. I'm doing 100 crunches, 100 sit-ups, and 100 push-ups a day for the next 100 days. And then that will lead in for the next 10 years, then 25 years. See, once you start getting going, mine was 30 days. Then I had a 90-day challenge. I did my 50 push-ups. Now I'm going to just keep doing it, guys, because the only way to get through COVID and everything is, fuck yeah, ice baths, but be healthy for yourself and your mind. And that's how we get through this together. As you can hear,
be healthy for yourself. I'm super like inspired by what you're doing, Johnny. It's awesome. And dude, the transformation, insane, you know, and then like it's like the song, your theme song is Ain't No Stopping Us Now, you know, type thing. Look at you. And
you can't even see him. He's half gone.
Yeah, I'm 150.2 pounds this morning. I've been 150 pounds now for over 3.5 months. And I've had my weight off. So I found that happy medium. I didn't try for a weight. I didn't set any goals. I just went to where my body naturally went. And now that I've done the research on my grandfathers and my grandfathers, opas, and my great ancestors were all between 135 and 150. So this is my natural weight through my heritage and stuff like that. My father I posted a picture of him in 1964. He was 145 pounds. You know what I mean? So this is where I was supposed to be. So once you find your natural weight, you just kind of want to be happy there. I can eat whatever I want, but I eat more water density foods and I pay attention to my health. I smoke a lot of dabs too, right? I mean, I did my biggest dab and I did my most amount of push-ups, which was 28. I did a huge dab and then I proved I went down to 28 push-ups. And that
Push-ups.
Push-ups.
Yeah, come on, Johnny B. That name was made for you. You got to take that. Push-ups.
I'll take
and Medi1, your medicine is a Kush. Like, come on.
So it's now the 100 push-up challenge.
The 100 push-up challenge. I challenge you guys to 100 push-ups for 100 days until 420.
Well, I'm doing burpees, so I'm past just the push-ups. So I feel you, dog. But I'll work my way up to 100.
You too. On September 2nd, I did 2 push-ups, and that was, and it's been a long haul. I couldn't even do a push-up. Everybody knows it broke my neck, shattered my arm, everything. Like they said I would never do that again. Look at me. They said I'd be in a wheelchair when I was 50. Doctors lied to me. I said, fuck you, I'm gonna be that, right?
No, even scarier, they probably believed it, dude. So
you know, the whole thing is they make you believe things. So believe in yourself. That's the most important part. When doctors you're gonna die, like, you know, I was listening to one talk, he goes, you know, I'm sorry, but you're not gonna die. And they should say, I can no longer help you anymore. You might have to go find some other help. Don't tell you you're gonna be in a worse. You know, I can only help you at this point. You can help someone else might be able to help you live this better quality of life that you're looking for, you know, and you can do it for yourself, because that's what I do every day. I believe that's what I need to do for me.
Yeah, so don't listen to your doctors. I mean, they gave me 5 years to live in 1991.
They told me not to use cannabis. They said it would fucking addictive. Wow, hey, saved my life, got me off of pharmaceutical drugs. Look where I am today because I use cannabis for medicine. And when I need to, I use it for relaxation and a little bit of entertainment. Fuck, it does all those needs for me. Isn't that awesome? How it gives me all of those needs: relaxation, entertainment, fun, joy, fuck, friendship, community.
Dude, I want to try this shit. What is it called?
What's it called? Cannabis.
Oh shit, I'm puffing it right now. No wonder I feel so good and I'm mildly and slightly entertained.
I started jump roping because my arms were hurting a little bit. And then I started looking up all this jump roping challenges and stuff. And then I started seeing a lot of stuff that was like, oh, if you do like 1,000 jumps a day, you completely transform your body. And then you start seeing all this beautiful dancing styles and all this like timing things and stuff and all these different kinds of ropes and everything. And so I was been kind of enjoying it. And then I heard this thing on the radio and whether it's kind of weird, but like in China, they said that every child has to be able to jump 100 times in order to go to school. So that's weird, right? But that was like, can I jump 100 times in a row in a minute? I think it has to be in a minute. So
Think
then
of
I
how
was
many
like,
kids.
so then I was like, no, I couldn't. I could not jump 100 times at first.
Take you
And
to
now I
school
can. I know. Well, it turns out the school is just being healthy and being able to jump and being able to walk. And then I started looking at all these workouts and these like military workouts and these like Murph workouts and all these challenges. And I was like, Jesus Christ, do these guys know about farming? Because all the time that they spend in the gym and all this time they spend working out underneath bars and sweaty gyms, I'm like, have you guys ever heard of like hugelcultures? Because like a shitload of effort could be used on transforming your land. And I'm telling you what, if you want to put that much effort into being healthy, you might as well get some fucking food out of it.
Yeah, and not only that, even that soil biome that you're breathing, that soil biome and that air, dude. You hit a good one. Outdoor hugel culture gyms, like come build my farm.
Oh man, and then it's like, oh wow, what just happened? I just built a whole goji berry bed. Next thing you know, like, well, oh wow, all these guys drink goji berry drinks, right? Like, wow, you could like grow them and then drink them, and then you'd be stoked. And I love that flip. So like, I kind of have a hard time in between shoveling the driveway, fixing things. It's a hard time getting the workouts in, but I'm still doing it because, it's all part of the life yoga that it takes to be well.
True story, man. True story. We should go back to talking about the size of the trichome heads and the greasiness and the dryness and the different environments, because I don't know if I was done with that conversation there. Definitely was inspired to hear Johnny B's story and was stoked on that. But yeah, let's see if we can.
Is someone going to make a 420 micron bag now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the 420 micron bag. Exactly. It's amazing how little it is. It's kind of crazy. I mean, even myself, all I did was add some bags. It's like in the long run, I'm kind of waiting for the next big thing here to happen. Rosin was amazing. That was huge. That was fucking pretty gigantic for and it goes to show you too, like, there's direction. And I know there's people that call bullshit on Phil's story. I have no reason not to believe Phil's story about him just, pressing out the hash in parchment to make dabs. That was, definitely remember Nicotine doing that and that whole Colorado crew doing that, Jibs and Kenwall and whatnot. And so it's just neat that at one point in time, he ran out of hash and for some reason was driven to put a bud into the parchment paper. And it's amazing too that people knew that concept from years past when they were, pressing hash and oil was gooping out of the filter bags and whatnot, and they were collecting it and saving it for their heads, but not enough to actually have the gear turn in their brain to make that an available thing or a process. But you can see how this changes everything. And the people communicating and sharing information through this, so many people were able to get eyes on that. And I remember in the cannabis industry and community, that
Starlink paths.
We just lost.
We just lost.
But you know, I mean, it really is true. I mean, look at just in the last 4 years since it's been created, how many machines are actually out there in companies that are actually processing and making machines. You know, how does even one go about figuring out which machine to get nowadays? Whereas 4 years ago, they didn't even exist. Now you have your choice of selection depending on your production model. So, I mean, it is pretty incredible. On top of that, the shift that was embraced from people watching that here. Remember, we were in Barcelona and you know, Bryan came out and actually made it with us while we were in the hash museum. And now here we are years later, and there's literally machines to press your tonnage. It's quite amazing, just the adaptability, as well as where legalization or accepted adult use in various countries and states have allowed industrial personnel as well as chemists to start playing with this plant that we have never had that opportunity prior, and that are taking it really seriously. So I could definitely see some other horizon benchmarks on the way.
Yeah.
On the note, oh, go ahead. Johnny B's got the first rosin maker out.
Actually,
Yeah, I mean, it went from hair straighteners to a hand press, arbor press to hydraulic arbor press. And then
because everybody ran out and started pressing and destroying their girlfriend's hair straightener, to where they're like, you better go get your fucking own now, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you know, now it's not about throughput anymore. It's just about, you know, quality, selection, and, you know, your personal intuition as to how you want to make your hash and what you want to select. And there's just so much, you know.
well, throughput
right?
will always be connected to the amount of people you want to touch. So it's easy to do small batch, and you can be very comfortable in small batch, but trying to do large batch, small batch quality and caliber with the living soils and the proper growing, that is the true challenge that, in my opinion, is why we're here.
Yeah.
Well, you've also got the small screens, you've got the pressure, so you've got a whole series of new technology that we've never necessarily played it with, in the sense of, you know, what micron screen are you particularly using for this type of genetic to actually get this particular squish at what temperature, how long was your press? And again, it's the lower the temperature is still the safety of the day, because if you go too high, as you know, every temperature affects flavor, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sure.
And not always bad and not always good, right? Like, you know, you could see it in the good way, whereas maybe you've got a cultivar with some monoterpenes that aren't like the most those are going to pop off probably pretty quick in the process, sort of show that didn't volatilize off quite so quickly. Sometimes it works the other way. Sometimes people are like, ooh, I hear it all the time. It smelled like burnt popcorn, this, that, and the other thing. I don't ever smoke rosin that smells like burnt popcorn. I'm not sure why people think that's what all rosin is like. It's actually as nice as any extract that you could do if it's done properly.
What their experience was, I think.
Right.
They had access to some crappy stuff, so they think it's crappy. If they had access to the quality rosin, even the stuff that I just recently saw in Hawaii, you would be thinking twice, and you wouldn't even utter those sort of things out of your mouth, because the quality is at the nasal and passes right across the palate now.
Yeah, and I think back to what Marcus was saying in terms of supply chain is really important to note. It's like, if you don't have your inputs down, you're going to struggle to make quality material, and especially at scale. It is impossible, and that's the struggle. I mean, that's what we really truly need right now is agricultural experience and horticultural experience to merge ideologies to try to you know, if that's going to happen at scale, that's the way it has to go.
but also sort of, you know, the people who run companies and have an understanding on how to do that, that sort of corporate aspect, and whatever you want to call the rest of us, legacy, you know, roots, the roots and the suits. Like, you also need to kind of like, there are things that they're really good at, and if they stopped sort of doing it in nefarious ways, it could, you know, like I said, it's hard to touch that many people. I love the idea of being able to help my friends and my local community and growing and, you know, getting more and more people involved. But I also love the idea of just being able to say to anyone in my country, you can just go here and get that. Like, it's available. Like, I hate the idea that people have been feeling for so long that when I share something nice and I'm like, oh, look at this bubble hash, it's like a 6-star, it's super nice. They just can't go and get some, you know, because that's what, if I see anyone blocked. Sorry, I froze up there for a second.
But that's the beauty. That's the beauty of you teaching everyone how to do it, because, you know, it is possible for a lot of people to do even a 4, you know, plant thing in their house, which tons of people do now. And it is true that more and more people are beginning to make their own. But I get totally, not to take away from the beauty of being able to go to the store, but now that's even a threat for different reasons. But yes.
Hi, everybody. Wade, I love you. Just wanted to tell you how much I loved you. And hi, everybody. Happy Sunday. So nice to be here. We have so much snow. It's been like such a journey, almost like couldn't find our place right now because we're so snowed in.
Oh.
It's pretty wild, isn't it? This is the most snow we've seen in the 26 years of living in British Columbia.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we had one maybe like in 2002 or something like that. That was a really huge winter, but I think this one is surpassing it because we're just still in early January. But it's awesome. All of the water that's happening in the mountains, and this kind of snow really seems to reset soil too. So I know that we're going to be seeing a lot of different microbiology. We'll probably be seeing different pests. Even some pests will probably go away. And, you know, so the cycles continue. So we'll be excited for spring and what these heavy snows bring us.
I'm scared. I live in Abbotsford. Fuck. I hope it doesn't.
Oh, yeah? Wow, you guys had the hellacious floods.
Yeah, my basement. You know, I fought water for a while, but that's okay. You know what? Like you said, we need the water and stuff like that. But that looks nice. I know Mark's place, he's got a beautiful view there. At least hopefully you don't get like a mudslide.
Yeah.
That's the thing, all the slides and all the things that are happening with all this weather and all these big changes. I mean, we went from water like crazy to the minus weather to everything freezing to all this snow, then the melts. And then in Ontario, I mean, I was out there and it was like +7, it should be -40, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be good out there. I think we just got to, everybody's got to grow.
I had to share the snow.
It's a great time. It's a great time to make hash.
It is.
So like what we've done is, okay, so on the note of, you know, having large trichome heads, you know, there's the thing of like, oh, we're going to harvest the plant early to try and get the lighter colored hash. And then the buds aren't going to be as full. And then they, you know, then that's not cool. I don't agree with that, but it happens. It happens.
That's some Instagram shit.
Like, oh,
did you notice that?
I know. And then some of the best hash we've ever made was upon Ganja Gill's recommendation. The snow was coming in and we just washed hash straight out of the greenhouse. So it was starting to freeze for the first time. The plants were really nice, and we just took plants and washed them right in the actual greenhouse itself. And it was amazing. The terpene content on that was amazing. We did it at night too. And so I think that, you know, there's definitely harvesting the plant in the evening, you know, the morning hours before the sun comes up, and letting the trichomes mature as much as they can, and then just finding ways to wash them as fresh as they can be.
Okay,
Awkward
so
silence.
2.5 month hang dry to see if I can make some really good hash today. Here's my new one. Because of all the stuff that was going on in December, I just let the weed hang for like an extra month and a bit. So today's the day. It's -2 out. I got a bunch of different screens. I'm gonna go throw some buds on some screens and make some hash. I hope everybody makes some hash today.
Do you think that the color trending will kind of fade away? Collin, anybody out there? Josh, Kelly?
I don't know. I honestly, I think this idea of something fresh and interesting happened when color came into the mix, and I think that it's good hash is good hash. I don't think there's the education yet around hash and color and pigment and why it's a certain color. But I think, if in terms of a trend, I think that there's people looking at darker hash as traditional hash and blonder hash as something that's kind of a new form freeze-dried hash. And when you, honestly, if you freeze-dry hash and you roll it, it can also be darker hash. So, all of this stuff in terms of how you preserve, how you do your processing and processes dictate the color of it and the oxidation of it, because it's all just exposure to air at some point, not in UV. So I don't know. In terms of trends, I just think people don't understand that good hash has nothing to do with color.
This meeting is being recorded.
And that's the thing I think it's really important for people to understand, is that quality hash has a lot to do with how the heads were grown and how that resin was actually cared for before it became hash. Because we're really just filtering the plant material to collect that material. And
we are the unveilers of the flame.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly right. And that's, as you've always said, Marcus, it's fire in, fire out. And how you grew that varietal, if you let it go longer, you may have amber heads there, and your hash just may be amber, and that might not be a bad thing whatsoever. And I think that's just
I'm curious. I was just listening.
Sorry to interrupt you, but do you think then fully mature Collin and fresh frozen trapped then would be the fullest terpene profile expression from the plant? Any call on that, or cured versus fresh frozen?
I think I believe at least maybe the cannabinoid spectrum itself is mature at a more mature state. So you might have a larger spread and a higher percentage point of these minors. In terms of these, the volatile chemicals there. I mean, I think it depends on the variety. I think there's a lot to be studied there in terms of when to actually take something for the purpose of the terpene production. I do think there is a fall-off point where terpenes do peak, and the terpenoids itself and all those volatiles do start to fall off at certain weeks. So, but there's a lot to explore there in terms of understanding that.
Did it say this meeting is being recorded when I came in? Because that kind of made me chuckle. And I thought, imagine like 25, 30 years ago, if I came into a room and a voice announced that the meeting was being recorded. That's
we would all left.
Out.
I might have even got stomped out. I don't know. But this meeting is being recorded.
Yeah, it's still the antithesis of my thought and my upbringing from anything I was taught, from using pagers and payphones and being described on the side streets and, hustling and meeting in bathroom stalls and shit like that. And here we are, completely comfortable and legal to the point
Hey,
where
let's talk about
we're
hash
being recorded, and we're talking about the drugs and shit that we used to deal with, grow illegally, etc.
I'll tell you, we really did change our reality, didn't we? We did. We changed our reality. And I know
the universe.
A lot of it still needs to be changed. I know there's still people in cages and all sorts of heinous shit going around the world. We're not done, but the fact that it can be done even on a small scale means that it can be done on a large one, which is once again why it's so important to do things on a large scale so everyone gets to enjoy the fruits of our labor.
Wait, not only that, Marcus, you're going to record your drug talk and you're going to share it with the world.
Yeah, except Russia. They don't fuck with my shit. They don't let me play. I don't think you can play Bubble Man's World in Russia, unfortunately.
Really? Oh, well,
Parts for sure. I get letters every once in a while from like Russian government saying that Bubble Man's World is not welcome.
I guess China would probably do the same.
I wanted to say that we're all talking about us changing, our reality and the way that the industry is going and the way that the community is talking about it more and the way that the world is incorporating cannabis more, but it really is just the cannabis. So the more that cannabis spreads, the more ability that minds are open, the more minds that are open, the more heart spaces that are open. And all we are doing is just stewarding her into more and more doorways to make this world a better place. And it's just so amazing that plant medicine just keeps showing itself as the cure-all for both mental, physical, emotional, communal, everything space. So I think that this show and what you've been doing for so long, Marcus, is just continuing to allow the plant to go through doors that it may have not otherwise gone through. So much gratitude for everybody for continually knocking at the doors.
At the
and that's
chamber door.
everybody. That's everybody listening. We continue to push this plant forward and show her out in a good way and have healthy concentrates and healthy conversations.
Better soil.
Then it's only going to make the world a better place, because then the plant is just doing what it's supposed to do.
We'll have a better, healthy mind, body, and soil.
Yeah.
And then hash.
Yeah. And we always talk about, all of the different ways to make hash and how to decompose, like break it all down. And I think that it really just gets back to the most important thing about hash is that we're ingesting it and that we just continue to grow through the ingestion of it. So I'm going to have a bong hit right now.
And we grow.
I love all y'all. Happy New Year.
Bong rip for Wade.
Is this the first house church for 20?
Yeah, this is the first hash one of the new year. Yeah.
Well, here's the growing into 2022. Looking at new innovations, new ways of making hash, and new ways of growing, guys. The industry is changing so much. It's awesome with light and technology and all these. Yeah, wow, I got to look at a rolling machine that rolls like 10,000 joints a day or something. It was at the Lift conference, and seeing this shit that's happening, it's the future is kind of growing fast, guys.
Well, it is growing, but at the same time, we're still dealing with prohibition. I'm watching our Dragonfly people who are using a Puffco Peak. And if I am correct in my understanding, Puffco Peak went out of business because of vaporizing can no longer be mailed. So, I mean, even things like that, even as much as we take 2 steps forward, we're still taking a few steps back from time to time. So even those that have found a way for ingestion for our methodology that's different, that's more portable, even they are still coming under attack and persuasion and manipulations that still do not allow us to imbibe our full freedoms yet. So it's,
it's why we know it's not ignorance. It's why we know it's not ignorance. It's straight, it's the demons, it's an agenda. It's not like we're ever going to open there. That's like not ever happening. But, they control the board. And so it's like a game of chess. And, Kelly kind of nailed it. We're just there kind of opening all these doors like, hey, cannabis, quick, through here.
But still suffering the whack-a-mole, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? But it shows you the persuasiveness of our persuasion that we're actually making inroads through different access and points through society, and that society is still trying to, you know, still put it into its own pedestal or hide it away still, as opposed to giving it what we actually crave, which is the freedom and the desire for others to start being able to go beyond the Puffco peaks, to go beyond these electric attachments, et cetera, to find the next better ingestion methodology or modality that is, you know, again, we have to fight to legalize even simple modality access, much less what we're actually imbibing and putting in them. So it's just interesting the steps that we've had to continuously to take as we make our progress. So it's just reminders, people, eternal vigilance. You still have to get out, speak, voice, write your letters, protest, and do the things that, you know, got us here. We ain't done yet. People are still in jail.
Yeah.
I feel like the
So
best thing we can do is all of what Etienne just said.
Yeah. And also, I'd like to just point out that the Snodgrass family and the glass blowing industry from the very beginning in the early 90s felt those exact same pressures where, you know, they started blowing glass, teaching everyone, all of a sudden epicenter out of Eugene. Next thing you know, there's serious money being made, and all of a sudden the government gets excited. So, you know, they all of a sudden couldn't, you know, people couldn't send glass state to state. Next thing you know, people are moving here and there. So, you know, I think adaptability is the actual thing that we need to learn how to be good at. We need to learn how to be good at adapting.
Yeah, it's not survival of the fittest. It's the survival of the most adaptable.
It's don't get whacked.
Yeah, and if it's whack-a-mole, then we're whacking our own creations that we lift up. Whatever is powerful right now, we have given power to. And if we step back and we look at it and we start recognizing what we want to feed and what we don't want to feed, that's just a really important question. If we're talking about health and vitality and wellness of the earth, of the globe, of the people, of the residents of this earth, then we need to talk about what it is that we're feeding that's a pathogen and what it is that we're feeding that's a beneficial. And I think that, you know, as a human race, we've been feeding a lot of pathogens and then we've been calling them they. And that is our own doing. Whatever they is because we've given that power, that money, that energy to something that is also, you know, beating us down. And I think that now that it's 2022, we really can set out our intentions and put our energy and our kindness and our love towards the beneficials to colonize, the beneficials to procreate, to repopulate. So I just think that I'm super on that notion of health and vitality and what that means. And I think it starts with each individual. And so just sitting with ourselves.
I like the term resonance because it's the resonance of the waves, but it's also has the word resin in it. Mm-hmm. And then that brings you to hash, and then you realize that the hash is just a resonance of the plant. Mm-hmm. And then it's kind of this beautiful thing because the trichomes are crystals, and then there's that cosmic energy, and I like that.
We talk a lot about, you know, you have to have a good, beautiful plant in order to have amazing hash and concentrates. Well, I mean, that's the way it is in life. For some reason, humans expect 6-star everything, but they put 1 star into it. So let's start putting 6 stars into it. And of course, you're going to get 6 stars out. That's just like what happens. Whatever you put in, you get out. So,
like Johnny B in the place.
Yeah. Johnny B has been putting in 6 stars, so he gets out 6 stars. And it's obvious and it's really awesome.
Right? You don't get what you want, you get what you deserve. And if you work hard for it, then you get what you deserve. So work hard for what you want in your garden, in your life, and anything that you do, and you'll get what you deserve. That's what you only get one life. So I'm talking here and talking here. It's awesome. Sorry guys, but Thank you. That's guys, just keep growing. Do it every day. I got to get my garden today. I can't wait to get out there, taking some time off. Like,
Yeah.
it's important. Growth.
Hey guys, you're all super inspiring to me, every single one of you. I appreciate all of you. And with that said, I've got to jump. Marcus, thank you for holding space as always. Everyone, thank you for being you. And Wade, sending you all my love. I really wish you well and keep us updated. Love you, man.
Thank you.
Bye, Collin.
Yes. So I had a power outage last week. I apologize to everyone, but the no power thing was a pretty big deal breaker. I have a generator, but I was like, do I really want to get my computer and my Starlink up and running on a generator? So we just passed, but I'm glad we did one today. I want to hang out for another 15 or 20 minutes. So if anyone wants to end it with some inspiration, something positive, something good, definitely sending
Marcus.
mad love to everyone. Yes, please go ahead.
I wanted to add in kind of in line with what Kelly was saying too, and getting back to like the restoration. I think, I love what you're doing with this group and how it goes out and resonates, because it's bringing a lot of heartbeat back to the culture, which is really needed so much these days, it seems like, for folktale and folklore and to restore human faith and trust in each other, is to tell stories and report back from the human. So, the portal being the cannabis plant to connect us together, all ancient and wise. But I really, really, really am thankful, feel blessed to be part of being able to share stories with the folks here and outward.
Dude, thanks for sharing. That was very well said.
Thanks for having me.
And definitely in line with all the things that Kelly said, which were just beyond inspirational and extremely well said as well. Just appreciate all of you guys and gals. It's I am very glad. I don't put a lot of time and energy into building the channel per se these days, or my Instagram. It got disabled for the first time ever recently, and I was like, oh, I froze. Am I back? There, I'm back.
You're back.
So yeah, my Instagram got disabled. I was like, who cares? YouTube, I don't really put a lot of videos up, but I do like it for this, for this group of people to invite together. What we have here is special for sure. Great group of people who listen and watch. And yeah, I just have a deep appreciation for all of it. The Hash Church is still a special little thing, and I love the way you put it, man. Like bringing some heartbeat to the community-industry, and that faith in humanity thing is a big deal as well. Where it's easy to be a pessimist nowadays, especially if you consume like bad media 24/7. That's like just eating poison, 24/7. It's not good for you, and it's easily accessible. So what my message would be to everyone is stay positive, get out into nature, enjoy plants, enjoy fungi, and yeah, try not to let the division happen, because there is a clear division kind of constantly, this tension. And I think it's okay for the tension to be there, but it doesn't have to be as tight as it is right now. So let's loosen that tension. Much love to Wade, much love to Etienne, Josh and Kelly, Dr. Mark, Bryan, Johnny B, and the folks that have left. That'll be enough for me, but I'll keep it going for another 15 minutes so you guys can all have a chance to wrap up as well.
Wade,
Marcus.
Wade, is there anything that some wisdom or anything you would like to impart to us as you've been in your new headspace and mind space? Is there some wisdom you'd like to share with us?
Great question. One of the things that occurred to me recently is all of the effort that over the years I put into understanding what's necessary to create high quality cannabis in terms of practices in the garden and the soils that we built and the cultivars that we worked with and some of the benefits that we saw from those things. I've come to realize that I want to bring that same attention to detail, that same desire to understand what was going on in this discussion, like with hash, why we see different types of hash from different environments, different moisture levels, et cetera, that whole exploration of what's possible. I'm really feeling a deep commitment to myself to understand my body more fully, to understand how it is that I like to think of myself as someone who has lived a good life, who has always eaten well, who has always pursued good works, walk in light, if you will, that how I end up in a situation of having a cancer like this is fascinating to me. And I want to understand what's going on there. I look back to one of Kelly's observations about pathogens and allies, and how we have put so much effort into creating pathogens in our environment. And it feels like as a culture, as a species, we have to learn how to adapt to what we've done to our environment, what we've done to our zeitgeist, if you will, the entire sum of all our experiences. And one of the reasons that I really love the Hash Church concept, the thing that we're doing here, is bringing that light. Each of us in our own way work hard to manifest that light within ourselves and in our work. And we have done very good at getting that word out into the world. But it feels to me like, for me, at least right now, it's important for me to turn inward and to really explore what's happening for me, and to understand how what's happening for me is really, to a large extent, happening for many people around the world. Many of us are struggling with toxins of one sort or another, be they from the media, from our food, from whatever. Excuse me. Anyway, yeah, it just feels like a time for me to focus within and really understand more fully my process. I love Johnny B's observations about how he's going about changing his life. Each of us in our own way are pioneers, if you will. And our work over the years has been really focused on pioneering ending prohibition, helping people understand what this plant and our various allies can do for us. And now I think it's, at least for me, it feels like it's a time for me to understand more fully what I can derive from this for my own benefit, as well as those that I love. I don't know if that made any sense at all, but there you go. That's Wade's
made all
thoughts this month.
Made all the sense in the world, my friend. I love you,
Wade.
brother. Thank you for sharing and being a guide and a sage with us. We appreciate your wise words of wisdom and appreciate you greatly, and wish you nothing but healing, love, and sustaining energy so that you can get back to how you were and where you want to be.
And
Yeah,
Wade,
thank you.
I feel like that path inward is the path of the true warrior. The path inward is the path that we're all afraid to go to. The path inward is the path that we're forced to when we've done everything outward. This is the work that you're doing, is the work that heals all of us. The work of you going inward heals the collective consciousness to places that we all need. I honor you. I love you, my friend, my brother. thank you for doing the work that so many of us need to do, doing the work that so many of us can't do. I have so much love and so much honor for you in all of the journeys that you've shared, and you sharing that you're going inward with your work is the greatest gift that you can give all of us.
And nourishing your own spirit.
So much love.
I love all of you.
You guys are all just awesome, and Wade, you give us that push and that spirit and that drive, and the stories that you've told, and the messages that you have given us over the house churches and over time. Like just today, you touched my heart, and I appreciate you so much, and I'm so grateful to be able to sit here and talk to you and everybody here, and the power we have as a community, as this inner circle that we've created over time, and this growth that we have in different parts of the world, and what we do as a driving force, and you're so much a big huge part of this, and created a big inspiration within this community. And I want to thank you so much, Mark, and everybody here who's been just dedicated to this plan, to coming to these house churches. It's like family, guys. You guys are family, and we're family to so many other people. And I want to thank you all. And 2022, man, it's growth, guys. It's like freedom, right? It's like freedom, and that's how I feel right now. Freedom with you guys, and freedom with growth, Wade and Mark and everybody here. You guys give me tears, man, because I love you guys, and let's just do this together, man, because the power with this community is so strong. And I look at where legalizations came from and what's happened, and I can feel the force within us now. It's just coming out and just going, fuck yeah, let's do this, guys. 2022, the way we got you. We love you, Mark, everybody here. Thank you, man. It's like bong rip, right? Like, woo! That's it. That's me just saying, yeah, this is how great I feel every day. You can do it. We can all do it. It's called decide, make a choice. Do it for yourself, and everybody here, man. Fucking love you guys. Woo! Thank you. Just had to say that. I know we all got this little bit of cheers because we all have it inside of you. We all have that force in you to just do this every day. And I see it with every one of you, man. Just yes. Yeah, I gotta do bone rip now. It's just tears of joy, man. Thank you guys. It's just so good right now. Appreciate you so much. Every one of you, all you guys in chat, everybody out there is gonna watch this over time. You guys rock. Thank you.
What I love about that, Johnny, is just saying that everything's an opportunity. You know, hardships are an opportunity. You know, success is an opportunity. Division, you know, togetherness, it's all an opportunity when we make it that way, you know. So let's just try and find the things that build us up, and let's try and find that commonality and come together.
I do. Don't try, do. And if you say you can't, you're lying to yourself. I got that written on my wall. If I say I can't, I'm lying, because you can, and never stop believing in yourself. I know that. So I think words are powerful, guys. Look at those keywords and change your vocabulary, change your life.
Nice.
And I just wanted to say, you know, before we all ended it, and, you know, this isn't ending it or anything, but so much love for Daniel in making his transition out of his body 3 days ago, 4 days ago now. So much love to Lane Creek Hemp. And, you know, what an incredible soil lover, medicine maker, purely dedicated to his family, to Dem Pure. We, you know, have gained an angel on the other side. We have gained so much in knowing him. And I just wanted to really put that love out into the universal flow for the broken hearts over at Lane Creek Hemp in his passing. And yeah, 2022.
It's
for
also,
all those, yeah.
It's also a time of rebirth, and there's a lot of people pregnant right now. And, you know, we just want to really give thanks for that
happening.
That new life, you know, and that new potential, and that new, you know, opportunity to learn from this wisdom, you know, bringing in this new life.
And a brand
You know.
new season that we've never encountered before.
So
We're getting ready to have a brand new season that of 2022 of spring that we've never ever experienced before. So we can put whatever seeds in the ground that we want. We can grow whatever it is that we want to.
So we're gonna sow the seeds of love this year and bring in love, you know.
Thanks, everybody.
Dr. Mark, the man of few words today. Close us out.
I've been on mute. Well, you know, people like Wade are unique because, I mean, you think just not even through the Coadrius network, but how many people have taken the words and knowledge that this one human has brought forward and, you know, healed and brought new genetics and new understanding to what the plant can do. And, you know, Wade, you're a living manifestation of the plant itself. You know, I mean, it's hard to tell where the plant ends and where Wade begins. So I think that, you know, I mean, hopefully all of this community that has come to your support is part of the healing energy that brings you back to where you need to be. You know, the skeletal system is underpinned by the endocannabinoid system. I think that there's been some very important work done over in Israel to show that. So let's hope by nurturing your endocannabinoid system, it'll bring you back to health. And as you know, if there's anything I can do or anything that this extended community can do for you, just feel free to reach out. There should be a low barrier to reaching out.
Thank you, everybody. Wade, last words. You want to say goodbye to everyone?
I love you guys. That's about all I got. It's pretty special. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate the love.
Right back.
I love you, Wade.
Love you, Wade.
Peace out, everybody. Thanks for watching. Maybe we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Love you, everybody.
Love and peace.
Love you.